They are only 3 hours and 45 minutes away.
And then the people who wrote it off made butt rock. And this is definitely like, it's a basic, not basic take. Noah, it's been 1 week since we recorded. Usually is how it goes, but also it's been a good week for music.
It has, but for what reasons? Because I think our reasons might be different.
Well, what's your reason?
My reason is I fell back into the album hole of two of my favorite albums, and I've just been listening to them on loop, which means that it hasn't been a great week for music in general for me, but for the music I like.
You know, I can get behind that because I got a little bit of that going on for sure. But it's also been literally, like, I just talked about a couple big releases that I really enjoyed lately.
Yeah.
But there's been one supplemental release.
Oh.
That is peak.
It's the new Slipknot album, isn't it?
It's the new Slipknot album. CMFT needs to get stopped because he keeps making great music. I have never once listened to a Slipknot album, and I've only heard their songs played in the background of things.
That's fair.
I've never sought them out. But it's one of my favorite artists. It's Carly Rae Jepsen. At it again.
Yeah, I heard that she released... I heard that a lot of people comparing her release to the new Taylor Swift release, and that, once again, Carly Rae Jepsen knocks it out of the park.
Of course. I mean, like... Look, full offense to Taylor Swift fans because they're not right. Like, there's something wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
Her music's fine.
Yeah.
But she also puts out way too much music for it to be consistently really, really, really good. And, like, it's not a bad thing. I mean, I love a good prolific band. I like the Mountain Goats a lot. Mm-hmm. And they put out, like, fucking 17 million albums a day.
Yeah.
Actually, they do put out, like, at least an album a year sometimes, too. And I like them, but I also understand that that's why their albums aren't usually like peak, like, or top 5 for me. You know, it's not like my number 1 of the year, but it's always going to be listenable. That's how I feel about Taylor Swift, where, like, Midnights is not a bad album. It's a good album made by a talented artist who had a lot of production value behind it, and I think it's good.
Yeah.
I just think that Taylor Swift's releases are, like, her release schedule is a little bit too fast-paced for it to really, really be high quality, and I feel like that's one of the things Carly Rae Jepsen, like straight up gets correct.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's on a 2-3 year, usually like 3 year or more release schedule. And I think that's a good amount of time.
Yeah, because she definitely takes her time with stuff.
Yeah.
She's not churning out album after album by any means.
No,
I remember thinking that she was like a dead artist for, not like physically dead, but like wasn't going to be creating anything anymore ages ago because she hadn't released in long enough that I'm like, well, yeah, Carly Rae Jepsen, she was a flash in the pan hit.
I mean, and honestly, the thing is that's like always frustrating about Carly Rae Jepsen and being a Carly Rae Jepsen fan is anytime she does something, people are like, wow, the Call Me Maybe girl's back? And I'm like, she's never been gone, first of all. But also, yeah. And I got nothing but respect because Carly Rae Jepsen did the classic maneuver of creating an earworm, securing the bag, and then doing whatever the fuck she wants.
She's been releasing an album every 4 to 5 years since 2008.
Yeah.
2008, 12, 15, 19, 20, 22. Dedicated and Dedicated Side B. Okay, so that's 2 parts of one album,
usually,
but still.
Yeah, no, the Side Bs and the Deluxe, that she'll usually put out one of those like in the interim. But I also think that's what you should do with the Deluxe edition. I think if the Deluxe version of the album is available day 1, you're insane.
No, I agree.
That's not the Deluxe version, that's just the album. Like, put out the Deluxe version a year later with 4 tracks that didn't make the cut that you've kind of refined to a place where you like them. But not day 1.
No.
That's now just a regular version.
It's the same as day 1 DLC in video games where it's like, hey, why are you ruining the concept of this? Yeah,
that's just the game. You just made that the game. But no, I think the album is really, really good. It's been kind of everywhere on TikTok, which is, you know, I think it's a good thing. Mm-hmm. I really hate when things are everywhere on TikTok, but I also really want more people to be like, man, Carly Rae Jepsen's actually really good and has been the whole time.
Mm-hmm. No, I can understand that.
You know, Emotion is, I don't think that this new album is like her best album. I think it's probably like, I'd rank it 3, like 3rd, but that's still like really good. She's just cranking out bangers. I'm a big fan. I think the thing that I like the most about her music is that typically it starts as like, it's not like there's a couple singles, like most artists release a few singles, but the singles aren't like the individual tracks and singles aren't the things that really like sell me on her as a musician. It's the whole album as like the album is something. Like the ordering of the tracks is actually taken into consideration, and you can really tell.
I really hate when an album you can tell it's just like there were 5 singles and then they just kind of shuffled them in with the filler songs of the album.
If you do the thing where you are like, we made 3 singles and have some filler songs, and like track 1, 2, 3 are your singles, and then you just have some more songs because you need to technically have an album, I think that's just like really sad. I think that like there's also, if you only release your best songs before the album comes out, if your singles are your top 3 tracks, I think that's not the best move. I think you're putting too much on the table before the deal is signed.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
And I think that's where like Carly Rae Jepsen does a really good job, because the singles are good, but none of my favorite songs of hers were released as a single. We're like, yeah, I like the singles, but then you listen to the album, and you're like, whoa, that one's actually like secretly like a like banger.
That's one of the things that really pissed me off with just the way music culture has moved. Because I grew up as an album guy because that was what I had access to. You know, I would go to the library and I would get whole albums out. I would buy full albums because I didn't like, even when I was buying songs on like iTunes or something like that, you know, I would be buying full albums just because that's what I knew to do.
That's what I did because it was like you could get the song for 99 cents or 12 songs for $8.
Yeah, exactly.
And if I like the artist, why would I try and buy 10 separate songs if I only have a $10 gift card?
Because you're trying to support them and give them as much money as possible. Come on, so Jackson. Try and keep up.
I would simply just buy an album and then like maybe a single or two if I had like some leftover money. But like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you had to do.
And I used to be so frustrated because I'd ask someone what a song was, and it would be like, oh, this is blank by blank. And I'm like, oh, cool. What album's that on? Because in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to go get this album because I like this song. And I would always be greeted with, I don't know. No one knows that. Who would know what album every song is on? And that was the most frustrating thing to me. Now that I work somewhere where I listen to a lot of the radio, I get it. But I love the full album experience when it's like the time is taken for it. And when the time isn't taken for it, I still have a few albums out there that I'm like, this is a perfect album, you know, like no skips, start to finish kind of thing.
What's your like, if you had to give somebody like hey, here's one album that like is like my absolute favorite that is still easily accessible and someone would know. What's your pick?
Oh, shit.
Can't pick like a Muskrat album from like 1943 that's only available on like a 1.5 inch thick vinyl press.
Well, I was gonna go with JJ and the Swoops, their performance on the Colgate Comedy Hour.
Ooh, I didn't see that episode.
It was pretty good, but it's pretty underground, so I guess I'll find you something better. Lonnie Kravitz was hosting that one.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what year was that?
Oh, it was back in like 47. Lonnie was he had just come off of his tour with well, it wasn't with the Swoops obviously, but they ran into the Swoops, he and the Big Boys downtown.
That's how it went. Yeah. That pack was crazy, man.
Oh yeah. But no, the album I was initially going to go with currently right now it's White Crosses by Against Me. There's 14 tracks on this album and I love every single one of them. But if we're going for something more accessible, I would have to.
That's a pretty like
okay.
Yeah, that's every streaming service, it's a pretty famous band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not hard to find. It's just one of those things where it is perhaps I don't know. It's not as well known a name, but like in the punk and folk punk communities, you should know who they are. I would think.
Yeah, this is definitely like. It's a basic, not basic take, but I fucking have been real back into In the Airplane Over the Sea.
Mm-hmm.
I just genuinely love Neutral Milk Hotel, and I think it's so much fun.
I have never gotten into Neutral Milk Hotel. I've tried multiple times, and it's for whatever reason has just never quite clicked for me.
It's pretty, it's genuinely surreal. And it's also one of those things where dealing with people talking about it can get really annoying because it, if anyone tries to tell you what it means, they're just projecting onto you. And that's okay. I mean, at some point, if someone asks you what it means, what it's about, you have to have a way to articulate it. And it does mean something to everyone. But it also is a fairly surreal album, and that's kind of controversial because a lot of people like to think they've solved it one way or another. But it is very much you experience it based on how you are feeling and where you're at, and it kind of meets you where you're at, and I love when things in general do that. But it's very cryptic, surreal. I mean, at least the Anne Frank part of it is very true and apparent. But like the overall message and the meaning behind the message, I think is subjective, and I have got an answer for it.
Okay.
But that's not my place to tell you the answer. It's your own answer to find.
Fair enough.
It's a good fucking album though. It's like a very good, very moving album.
I am currently listening to the Carly Rae Jepsen album, and it's really good. It is enjoyable pop music, and it is not. I don't know. I feel like to say that it's not like generic pop is a disingenuous thing to say because I haven't listened to the whole thing, and there are elements of this that are like kind of like that. It's a normal like pop thing going on.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. I like what it has going on, especially the first track, Surrender My Heart, definitely hit in a way that I wasn't expecting the opening track of
Joshua
the Call
Tree
Me Maybe
goes
Girl.
Insane. The second track is definitely the one that I found personally was like, this is the one that I did not expect to deliver. Also, I think it was Pitchfork said it was the worst track on the album, and I completely disagree. I think that's a bad
Pitchfork
take.
drops some insanely bad takes on
I don't usually
sometimes.
I just don't listen to music criticism in general. I've seen Anthony Fantano on TikTok a time or two.
God, I love that man. What a villain.
I don't know anything. Like I know that like he's like vaguely controversial and also just like a music reviewer. But I don't know. I've never really been a fan of like music review and criticism. Because, like, outside of the basic, I think it's really, really hard for me to go to other people to find out what to think about music. And I think that's what a lot of people use music reviews for, even though it's not what it should be for.
Yeah.
Especially because half the time, if you're, like, reading an article, you're going to be spending, like, 5 minutes reading. If you're watching, like, an Anthony Fantano video, it's going to be, like, 10 minutes. Bro, just listen to the first couple tracks of the album. It's going to take the same amount of time, and you get to experience it. And then maybe... Because I definitely do this, though, where like I listened to the Carly Rae Jepsen album and I wanted to see what people were saying. Like, formulate your thoughts and then find what other people are saying.
Yeah, and that's the way you have to do it. Because if you don't do it that way, you're just going to end up... Because I've know that I have not engaged with something that I have later found and enjoyed because an initial negative interaction about it. Like someone saying, not that great.
No, for sure. I think that's pretty common in like the reviewing type scene for people to have like... They just like parrot talking points. I mean, that's I always hate that kind of in general. Like people who just parrot talking points. I mean, everyone does it. It's impossible not to on some level because even if you're not doing it to just repeat what someone else said, no one's views are fully unique on anything. Someone said it before on a lot of matters.
100%. Yeah.
But sometimes you can tell someone is just, especially like there are like sentences that like trigger my brain to just turn off. I'm like, all right, it's not worth talking to this person. Number one, and I've said this before on the podcast, like probably like 17 million times. But number one is when someone says, well, Dante's Inferno is just fan fiction. I'm just like, okay, you saw a Twitter post one time, you don't know what you're talking about, and that's okay. You don't have to. But you're just repeating a joke you saw somewhere that you don't even understand why it's a joke.
Yeah.
That's like my number one, like, brain shutting off moment. Like, you're stupid.
Like, yes. It is fan fiction. That's not a problem though. That's like a normal thing.
It's also not even what I would not even consider it fan fiction because of the way that everything was written back then. Because if it wasn't directly about the church or biblical motifs, you were murdered and your book was destroyed. So it's not like they were like, oh, wouldn't it be fun to write? It's like, well, you want to write, you gotta write about the Bible or else you die. So of course he wrote about the fucking Bible. He had to, or he would die. But that doesn't make it fan fiction. No one's like, wow, I can't believe this story is just fan fiction because it's based on like religious values of the time. Like what are you talking about?
The only real fan fiction element is inserting one of his favorite authors in as a guy who he was friends with. Yeah, that is.
But it also isn't fully insert in that way. Because it's also talking about the way that someone like Virgil would be processing the afterlife from a Christian perspective because he lived in a pre-Christian society. And that's a big part of the narrative as well. And I think that a lot of times people don't think about it like that, don't actually care about it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it bugs me the most because sometimes it'll happen when I try and like if I start talking about it with someone, and not a way where I like am trying to like I don't know. Sometimes I'll just be like mentioning a point or something that's doing a similar type of situation, like talking about like Over the Garden Wall or the house that Jack built. You know, those like really common. I mean, because the Inferno is a super common trope. Like the way that it is used as an analog is everywhere in modern media because it's a huge and influential story.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I'll be talking about it, and I really, really hate when not even making jokes and like not even like just trying to establish it as a frame of reference. People will be like, "Oh, Dante's Inferno is just like a fan fiction." Like
Yeah.
you just shut down the conversation by repeating a joke you've heard like 100 times. And it's just like I don't know. It's disheartening. It's like disheartening when you're trying to talk to somebody and they just like start repeating things online and not trying to engage with the conversation. I don't know. But it's also they have the right to do that. No one owes you a conversation.
No one owes you a conversation, but I
Just feels
really
bad,
wish
man.
people would like, because sometimes people get too caught up in something that they think is a really funny comment and they never move on from it. Because
Well, yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day because I was reading some thread about like something to do with Jamaican restaurants. And the guy was like, "Yeah, I just called this Jamaican restaurant and they were super rude to me on the phone. So I'm going to make sure that I order as much food as I can because I know this is going to be really good. You know, rather than being a chain restaurant, it's going to be family owned." And they're just like, "Yeah, what do you want?" type of attitude.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I've lived by this rule for a while and it's worked really well for me, you know?" And the comments are all like voicing similar things. And then this one random person says, "I only have one rule about restaurants, and it's if they serve breakfast all day, order the breakfast because that's what they're best at." And I'm like, well, what stand-up comedian did you get that line from, man? Because that's like not even applicable to the conversation directly. It's like,
You
okay,
just wanted
cool.
to make a line. You just wanted to
Exactly.
do
It's
a
like
bit.
I get it. You're technically also talking about restaurants, but like that's not applicable to the conversation of, hey, this is the world of like small family owned restaurants versus the sanitized experience that some people are after. And I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't like when people decide to just let other people build their personality for them. And they're like, that thing that this person said is funny. I'm gonna steal that, and
Yeah,
that's
and then
me
but then
now.
take it too seriously.
Exactly. Like,
Like if you don't back to the Inferno point, but like if
yeah.
you don't know anything about it, that's totally fine. Or if you know the bare minimum, you know, the high school education stuff where like it was probably required.
Hmm.
Um like that's okay.
Yeah, I don't
Just be
need
like,
you to
I
be
don't
an
know that much
expert
about
on
it.
Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, but just because you saw someone make a joke one time about how it's just Bible fan fiction, you
Doesn't
like that
You don't need to engage
don't
in any
make that your
conversation about it.
actual thoughts on it
Yeah.
because that person was making a joke. That's a good joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a funny
It
joke.
a
The
funny
first time you
joke.
hear it, if you're the one who said it. If you didn't like you didn't come up with the joke. You heard it from someone. You're just repeating a joke that I've heard from 12 different sources, none of which are original.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even your joke and it's just derailing the conversation to be pedantic about something.
100%. It's I don't know, man. It's
If you're going to parrot a joke, make it Ligma.
Ligma. What's that?
I don't know, dude. People keep talking about it though.
Wish I understood.
Me too.
Back before we had any like video games at our house, like when we grew up, we had computer games because we had the family computer, blah blah blah. I played, oh god, I'm pretty sure I played Civil War Generals 2, Roller Coaster Tycoon,
Sick.
and Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, which was 100% an Age of Empires ripoff.
Yeah.
Um
I remember like I only ever had Ligma as a kid.
you only ever had I'm very sorry to hear that you had Ligma as a kid.
I had Ligma when I was a kid. Like I had I had Ligma when I was a kid.
You didn't also happen to have a bad case of Bofa, did you?
What's Bofa?
Bofa D's nuts.
I don't get it.
Oh, well, maybe when you're older you'll understand.
Oh, okay.
But you know, we didn't have a GameCube, we didn't have an N64 or anything like that. But a friend of mine did. So we would go over, and it's one of those things where it's shitty of me. I do realize in hindsight we did go over and hang out with him primarily because I wanted to play video games and not exactly because I liked him that much.
That's a universal thing though. Like hanging out with a kid because they've got a toy that you think is awesome is a
Mhm.
thing.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
and like especially when you're like 5, 6, 7. You know, if you're under the age of 10, you don't really like fully grasp that's pretty rude, and you are also hanging out with them.
Mm-hmm.
But they also have this thing that's super cool that you want to play with.
Exactly.
That your parents are like, we don't need that.
But one of the things, one of the big issues is his mom didn't like us playing video games all day. So she wanted us to play outside sometimes. She wanted us to not just melt our brains in front of the TV or whatever. Which I gotta be honest, I think says more about him than about me, because that was not an issue for me at home. I used to read a lot. I was up on things well enough. I just wasn't a very active kid, but I read a lot. I wasn't like melting my brain watching TV all day kind of kid. You know, simply built different. And we had a joke book. And I shit you not, Jackson. This kid made us pull a joke out of the joke book every we would play Star Fox Assault on the GameCube.
It's a good-ass game.
In between each round, this man would make me and my brother and himself, we'd all have to find a joke and tell a joke and then continue on.
You had to like pay the troll toll.
We had to play the
video game that you wanted to play a cool video game that you didn't have at home. You had to hang out with this guy who sucked a little bit.
Yeah. And I don't remember any of the jokes that were told, except for one that my brother told, because he's like, can we just get back to playing the game? And he's like, no, you have to. And when this guy was annoyed, he flipped from being jovial annoyed to like concerning, like kind of frightening annoyed immediately.
Dudes who you know just has always wanted to exert power over other people.
100%. 100%. And this dude immediately switched from just joking around to, you have to read one of these or else we're not doing anything else, you know? So my brother flipped through and found one that was, my wife loves those little foreign cars, so I got her 2, 1 for each foot. Which, to me now, being aware of like tiny little Italian cars and stuff as a concept, actually kind of funny. Really dated, really boomer, kind of funny, right? But at the time, none of us knew what that joke was. None of us understood it at all. And he was so mad at us, and specifically at my brother, and he was just like, if you're going to tell a joke, you have to know what it means. Because like, what does that mean? And Jeff's like, I don't know, man. Let's just get back to playing. He's like, you can't just read a random joke. You have to get what the joke means. It has to actually be funny. And it's like, okay.
Dude's making rules.
It was just like, come on, man. And eventually, we thankfully only did that like once or twice. Because I think his mom realized that it really wasn't working out. So instead, what we did
like
was
the joke thing or being friends with this kid?
The joke thing. No, I was in this guy's wedding.
What?
Yeah, no, this was super awkward, actually. I had started drifting away from him at that point because, you know, how it is when you get a job and you can't hang out every weekend anymore. But then your friends don't get that because they don't have jobs and they can still. And it's like, hey, man, I'm doing what I can. There's not much I can do. That was what happened with us. And then he got married, and I was in his wedding, and I was a really terrible best man. I'll admit to that. You know, I could have been a better best man.
You were the best man? You just said in the wedding.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry. I was the best man in the wedding.
Wait, do I know this person?
You do. You do.
Oh, no.
Yep. Yeah. And they are now divorced. I am still friends with his wife.
I know this person.
Because after they got married, he just kept getting more and more like shitty and racist.
Please tell me that this guy did not grow up to also be someone who really relished the ability to hold power over people and wasn't really given many opportunities to, but abused it the second he had the privilege.
That is exactly what happened.
Ah!
Yeah.
That's fucking...
He wanted to be a cop, but he had light
of course
asthma,
he did!
And they wouldn't let him in because of his like asthma issues with Firstly.
Oh.
I feel
fair.
like...
I mean, they wouldn't let me be a cop because I had ligma.
Really? What's ligma? Why did that stop you?
Dude, I don't know. They wouldn't tell me. They just told me I had it.
I wish that, honestly, you know, people need to explain what these things are so that, you know, is that something you can fix? You need to know. Like, do you need to go to a doctor about your ligma? Is that like...
Yeah.
Or like, is this one of those things that it's like, you just have to live with it? Like what?
They told me to see Candace and I don't get it. I'm so
Candace
scared.
Who? That doesn't say anything. That doesn't mean anything. Like
dude,
Dr. Candace down at the hospital, but that's a first name. We need a last name.
Dude, it's Yeah, no, it's really hard. But they wouldn't let me become a cop.
For the best, probably. But, you know, here's to
Anyway.
shitty friends.
Yeah, I've been in a couple weddings actually. Never one that I didn't want to. One that I felt I was a little underqualified for.
Okay.
One with like a guy that like was I worked with, and we were friends. Like we got along, and we like hung outside of work a few times. But then like he asked if I wanted to be in his wedding, and I was like, I mean, yeah, for sure. But like I don't know, it felt kind of weird because I was like with like his brothers, his like childhood best friend, and me. And
That's
I was like,
amazing.
I'm happy to be here. Like I really like this guy. He's really cool. But I was just like, I don't know if I fully fit in the vibe.
But this is gonna be a mild call out at my old Chick-fil-A circles. But
okay, get him. Fuck him up.
There was a lot of blurring the lines between friendship and coworkers there because we all worked so much and we all, it's a very normal coworker thing. But especially when you're all young and you don't know how to separate your social lives and everything like that.
Plus, sometimes your coworkers are really cool and they become your friends. Like this guy I knew from work, but he was like my friend. Like we like for sure. I also lived with the guy that I worked with there, so it's kind of like there's pretty cool people.
Yeah, there's definitely ways that it happens. I mean, like I have made a very good friend at work. I've made a couple of like pretty solid friends at work. But I also know where to draw the line for some other people, and that's not a line I knew how to draw before, but it bums me out a lot when someone, because this isn't a call out against your coworker, or I guess really against mine, in hindsight, but when all the people in your wedding party are coworker friends, that bums me out a lot when I see that,
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I don't keep in contact with a lot of my childhood friends anymore. A lot of us have drifted apart to the point where I don't want to reconnect because I don't want to ruin my memory of them. Because
I think for him, it was also like he and his fiance had moved to the city, like not that like everyone else who was in the wedding had to like fly in.
Yeah.
So I think it was also kind of a matter of like I think she had like 4 people that she wanted in her like bridal party, and I think he had 3, but he was like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
I need a 4th guy, and you, sir, are someone I do not dislike.
Yeah, I think it was kind of like that, where it was like, I think I was kind of a bit of a filler, but like it was a good time. He's a good guy.
Was this like within the last few years? Did this wedding happen while we were doing the podcast?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it was like 2018.
We were doing the podcast in 2018.
Not all of 2018.
Fair enough. Only half.
I don't know, maybe. And we're also only doing it every other week, so.
That's true. I will say, Jackson, I have been very much enjoying doing this podcast while listening to the Carly Rae Jepsen album.
It's a good album. It's a little like, there's a little much going on with like references to astrology. Like in like 4 or 5 tracks, like heavily.
Don't care for
the album
that.
goes hard. Album goes hard for sure though.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of good background music albums in my life, or music in general, I guess. Because most of my stuff that I listen to tends to be a little more high energy. I have a couple of intentionally made better for background music playlists, but it's I don't know. I really have enjoyed having this because of the like just very smoothness of it. And it's got some funky stuff going on.
It's a little jazzy. I've been not on a jazz kick, but whenever I work at the coffee shop, I always like put on jazz. Cause like for me, I feel like, and everyone who like will put on music has a different thing they'll put on. But everybody for the most part puts on like bands that are like either like fairly popular or like have like a lot of like singles and like radio type hits.
Yeah.
And for me, it always feels like that's more of like it's a supermarket kind of music. I just feel like if I'm sitting at a coffee shop, I want it to be something that's like quiet and soft in the background.
Yeah.
That's on me though. I put on a little like soft autumnal jazz this time of year. Today I put on a real funky, like meaty jazz type playlist, and it was very pleasant. A lot of James Brown.
I do love some James Brown.
Yeah, incredible. Very, very talented man.
I feel like I'm pretty sure that we've talked about this before too, with a little bit of what do you call, with your go-to being like Japanese street jazz a lot of the time.
I do put some of that on as well. I just feel like it depends on the weather. Lately, I haven't been. I've been putting on like softer jazz because it's kind of chillier out.
Mm-hmm.
But today it was nice and warm and like a nice day for like a funky, some instrumental funk. And then there was a good bit of non-instrumental, just like funk in there.
I feel like
Yeah,
funk and stuff definitely is something that I don't know. I feel like it's something that's really underutilized in modern music, just because some people like you'll hear a lot of it in like hip hop beats and stuff, like cool funky bass lines, especially like
you
more
won't
classic
even hear
sound
it
and
that
stuff.
much though.
Yeah, mostly in just with people who are looking to emulate like the sounds of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
think
big anymore, and it bums me out because it's a cool era of music that got sidelined super hard.
I mean, yeah, it got sidelined, and a lot of people associated it heavily. I mean, and this isn't an association that's made it in like it's not an incorrect association, but people associate funk heavily with the black community,
Mm-hmm.
and it is heavily associated. But unfortunately, people associated that and then said, "Oh, so it's bad." Like, no, it's good, and yes, it has very deep roots in the black community, and it's good, and that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, I think when it was at its peak, a lot of people wrote it off because it had such deep ties to the black community.
Yeah. It's kind of like how disco
sucks.
got written off because of its ties to the gay community.
Yeah.
Where like, yeah, sure, man, I still don't like personally incredibly care for disco.
And then the people who wrote it off made butt rock. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, honestly though, like come on. Come
You
on.
shit on James Brown just so we could get fucking Stone Temple Pilots.
God. I don't mind.
Okay.
So, funny thing about Stone Temple Pilots. Oh God, half a sec. Let me find the
I don't
album.
have like any actual beef with Stone Temple Pilots, but come on.
Stone Temple Pilots. I did not realize that the album Thank You was a compilation album. So I was just looking up like some of their albums because I was making a joke that involved the sunflower hand, because I'm sure you've seen that picture of the sumo wrestlers in the sunflower field.
What?
Okay, so you haven't seen the picture of the sumo wrestlers in the sunflower field.
No.
Um,
What were they doing there?
oh, they're just standing there. They're looking happy. I'll see if I can find it. And
They're
send
not
it to you.
wrestling. They're just hanging out.
No, they're just hanging out. Just
that's cool.
vibing in the sunflower field. I gotta
Oh.
find what channel this was posted in.
Sounds like a nice afternoon for them.
Oh God, never mind. I'm never gonna find this. This was in Nina's meme chat, I'm pretty sure, a few days ago, which has been buried under 4 rounds of Hunger Games. So I don't think I'm gonna find it again. But it was just it's a funny little picture, and they just like they look happy. Their vibe. Oh, I did find it. Never mind. I'm the greatest that ever did it.
Some people are saying this.
And I'm trying to find out like, oh, what's the name of that one Stone Temple Pilots album? Because it's giving the same energy. And then I find out that it's yeah, don't they look happy?
How'd they get there?
I don't know, man. Maybe
Why is it like a
maybe
drone
Candace
taking
brought
a
him
picture
there.
of them?
No, I think it's a
Like,
real
who's Candace?
photographer.
Why are they so tall?
I don't know if there's a few things that have come out in the last few years though that have made people able to do stuff like this. Have you heard of it's a little like A-frame ladder? You heard of those?
This is the first time hearing of that.
Oh yeah, they're kind of cool things. They let you get up like 5 or 6 feet in the air. Taller even sometimes.
Jamie.
Yep, I just looked it up. It's true.
Oh.
It's true.
Yeah, well, I'll be.
Yeah.
So people use these things to be tall?
To be tall.
How does that work?
So the
So
ladder.
I'm seeing
Yeah, it's
oh wait, you gotta be shitting me. So I'm seeing there's like steps, like a stairway.
That's
but
right, Jackson. Yeah.
But
it's kind of like a portable
it's not
stairway.
a stairway. It's not in a house. Well, sometimes it's in a house. It looks like.
It can be in a house, but not.
How
all
do they
the
get it
time.
out of the house when it's in the house?
Well, you don't need to get it out of the house when it's in the house. Luckily, sometimes
Okay.
it's just built into the house.
Well, no, but okay, so what if you had one of these A-frame ladders
Mhm.
and you had it inside your house?
Okay.
Right. And how would you get pictures of the sumo wrestlers?
Well, there are portable versions and non-portable versions of ladders, right? So you can just pop the ladder into the back of a car or onto the side of a truck, something like that.
Okay.
Strap it there. You can drive it anywhere you want to.
You're telling me you can move this thing?
You can move that thing.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. It's crazy.
Huh.
Yeah, modern innovation.
That's insane. You could be so tall with one of these.
You could be so tall with one of these, Jackson.
Wow.
I hate to say it to you. I hate to flex. I got one of these at work, and it's
No
like
way.
12 feet tall.
That's unbelievable.
I know.
What do you do? What do you do when you're up there, right?
Well, for me at work, I put things away. We have a big top shelf, and I just put things on top of that shelf. For other
so they
people,
just they build. So you're telling me that they have part of the building facilitates having one of these things.
Yeah, they build the building too tall just so that they can use
on
things
purpose.
like this.
They're doing crazy stuff these days.
No, it's honestly just wild what they've been doing recently.
And scene.
It might not even just be recently. I think they've been doing stuff like this for a long time in hindsight.
I'm no longer a guy who doesn't know what a ladder is. I changed.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, scene's over. So, me, I know what ladders are. It was an extended bit, everybody. I knew what that was the whole time.
So I had
sorry.
go
for it.
I had a brand interaction on Twitter recently. I posted a photo 10 days ago as of recording, 2 weeks ago probably by the time this comes out, of me and a coworker holding this new whiskey from work. It's called Revelstoke's S'moregasm, and it just tastes like
Some would call it smumming.
No. It tastes like a Pop-Tart. It tastes like a s'mores Pop-Tart.
Okay.
And we were having fun talking about if you get 3 s'moregasms, it's a s'morgy. A case of s'moregasm is a s'morgy. Ha 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 ha. Having a good time with that. But then I was asked, so what does this actually taste like? So I say, official report from my coworker who actually bought it. I don't know. Tastes like s'mores Pop-Tarts. I was drunk. Everything tastes better when you're drunk. And Revelstoke Whiskey, the company that makes S'moregasm, commented under that saying this could be an inspirational poster. And I gotta be honest, man.
Shut up.
I think that they commented on this, and then I think someone else realized that this doesn't actually make them look great. It's just fine at best. Because in my mind, I say, yeah, I don't know, man. I was drunk. Everything's better when you're drunk. Doesn't make it sound like I enjoyed it. Sounds like I appreciated it at best, right? So I was, they have not responded again since I said, yeah, I'll make sure to pick one up for my next smorgy. Yeah, it's very sweet. It's very sweet. I don't know. We had it the other night. I don't know. It's fine. But I don't know. I don't often get brand interactions like that, and I just thought that was kind of funny. So I wanted to share that with you.
Would it be good with chocolate milk?
Honestly, I don't know if it would be, only because I think you lose the s'mores taste of it, the s'mores Pop-Tart taste of it.
Is it chocolatey though? So I guess maybe just regular milk?
It's
what's the milkability of this bad boy?
The milkability of this is probably
me when I see a snake.
Kind of good. A snake.
And how milkable is this thing? Me with any venomous snake I encounter.
I think you could put it in milk though. I think it would work well enough. Speaking of milk, we got a new security guard recently, and I'm convinced that this man is like God's punishment to me for existing.
Is it after so this person is worse than the last security guard you talk shit on?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so what I'm realizing is the issues with the other guys, yeah, it was just he wasn't the greatest guard ever, right? He is. He now works for the state prison.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not good, but that's believable.
You're not right. You're not exactly surprised. It's just kind of oh yeah, that kind of sucks. But yeah, this new guy has been asking me for alcohol recommendations because he just turned 21 recently and he's looking to get into drinking a bit. But here's the thing, Jackson. I don't drink a lot.
Wine recommendations.
Well, he doesn't want wine. He wants liquor. So I'm giving him the recommendations I can, but I don't drink a lot. And when I do, I drink for the experience of it. I like the taste of some whiskeys. I like the taste of rums. I like that stuff. I don't want to hide it under a mountain of artificial flavors all the time. If I'm going to drink, I want the full taste experience too,
Yeah.
Because I'm not looking to get plastered. I'm looking to have a drink and be like, that was a drink, and then move on with my day.
That sounds awful.
I mean, fair enough.
As someone who doesn't drink really at all, but when I do, it's only to get plastered. Actually, that's not even true. I don't even like being drunk. It's only to be involved in a social setting. I just can't fathom that. I just would probably not have that good of a time.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been this part isn't important. The important thing is you asking the milkability of the smorgasm
Yeah.
reminded me of this man's favorite drink. He doesn't
Is it screwball and milk?
Oh no, Jackson, it's far different.
You don't understand. My friend Chad literally chugs, not anymore, I hope, 50-50 Rumplemans and milk, chocolate milk. So like
that actually does sound fine. Rumplemans and chocolate milk. Oh, that's a peppermint chocolate.
Yeah, but it's not a peppermint chocolate because Rumplemans isn't like a.
That's true.
Isn't
actually
the kind of peppermint that you put in like a peppermint patty.
No, it's a toothpaste.
It's
toothpaste and chocolate milk. Okay, so yeah, no, I'm back with you on the.
Nothing will ever beat that. That's the worst imaginable.
Okay, so this man sits down, or he's not sitting down, but he's telling me, yeah, I think my favorite drink is tequila rose. I'm like, oh yeah, tequila rose is fine. He's like, yeah, I mix that with Bailey's and milk, and I'm like, what? Why? You mix tequila rose with Bailey and milk? And he's like, well, I drink the Baja Rosa, which is like tequila rose. And I'm like, I gotta be honest, man, that sounds horrific. And he's like, well, it's on the side of the bottle. It's an option. And I'm like, why would you mix that with Bailey's too, though? And he's like, it's not actually Bailey's, it's Ryan's. And I'm like, so you're drinking discount Bailey's and discount tequila rose in milk. Why are you mixing all that?
If you buy regular Bailey's, you should get like a trophy for being the biggest sucker on earth. St. Brendan's is made in the same building. It is the same fucking manufacturer and everything.
Yeah, 100% the same.
I think it might technically not be the same manufacturer, but literally made same place.
Yeah, you have
hanging out.
You have the faucet that says Bailey's and the faucet that says St. Brendan's.
And it's like a third the price. And it comes in a fun shaped bottle.
It does. Yeah, Bailey's is the reason to go for Bailey's is they have some flavors of Irish cream. They have a s'mores right now that I assume is good.
Probably put that with some smorgasm.
Exactly.
And have a time that's
gonna
just
bust a smut there.
A little too much. Probably be a little too much, honestly.
Yeah, probably a lot too much. Probably just way too sweet. But like, this man's talking about mixing just all that stuff in milk to drink, and I'm like, why would you do that? That sounds horrific. And when he tried to say, well, it's not actually Bailey's, because I thought the horrific thing was how much money he's wasting drinking Bailey's mixed with milk. I'm like, no, man, that's not the part that sounds bad. It's mixing all of that with the milk. Yeah, it's already.
You already got the milk.
You already have milk. Why would you add more milk to the equation? I'm not trying to be rude, but are you an actual child? Are you a little baby child drinking your strawberry milk that needed more alcohol in it, but so you added Irish cream instead for some reason?
Yeah, that you should suggest that what this person does is just get like some strawberry milk. Get like a Fairlife strawberry milk. Don't get the Nesquik because it's Nestle.
Yeah.
Don't get that one.
Yeah.
Get the Fairlife strawberry milk. It's higher in protein, lower in sugar, higher in calcium, and it's nice and thick, tastes delightful. Get that one. I don't know if the strawberry is good. I'm allergic, but it's probably fine.
It's probably
Get the strawberry milk and then just put tequila in it. That's what you want.
It is all.
It's going to be just
well, here's
as good.
the thing. He doesn't like tequila.
And why are you in? Yeah.
He likes tequila rose. The man asked me for tequila recommendations, and after I said I really don't care for tequila that much, he's like, well, I mean, there's some good ones though, right? So I pointed him toward 3 labels that are in the $20 to $40 range and are supposed to be really good. And this man comes back to me and says, yeah, this one was too spicy for me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That is actually unhinged.
And apparently, okay, half a sec.
Was he eating the glass? Like, what was going on?
Okay, so I told him what he decided to get was Lunazul. Let's see. The Lunazul Blanco. And this man said that it was too spicy and minty. And I'm checking its official tasting notes here from tequilaaficionado.com. And it's a refreshing fruity nose exhibiting tropical and apple notes with a healthy dose of salt and citrus, similar to that of fresh agave. That's the aroma. And the taste, the palate is semi-viscous and peppery with a ripe fruit tones giving way to crisp citrus notes and a hint of vanilla. Normal tequila shit, right? Like, but this man says it's jalapeno mint. And I don't know What?
That guy's I mean, dude's drinking the double cream with milk.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know what's going on.
He told
but
me he wanted
something.
to try some flavored whiskeys, like a cherry whiskey or an orange or an apple or a peach.
That's fair.
Because he started out on wine coolers and he likes flavor. And I'm like, what do you mean you like flavor? Like whiskey has flavor. And he's like, well, no, I mean like I want to have flavor in it though. And what I realized he meant is he wants a flavored whiskey, and that's the flavor he's looking for. He doesn't actually want whiskey. He wants to drink a sugary alcohol drink, which means that the man should just stick to mixing vodka and juice. That's not a dig. That's like,
no, the flavored whiskey's good though.
well, there's some good flavored whiskeys out there. I honestly,
Crown Peach is goated.
Crown Peach is, I've heard very good things about Crown Peach. It's not my go-to personally.
Hard to get though.
Not as much anymore.
Good.
We've been getting our hands on it
this
enough that they lifted the limit on it. So you can buy like
That's
20
good.
bottles if you want to.
So I'm sure the people do. Rednecks go insane for Crown Peach.
Rednecks go insane for Crown Peach.
Yeah, I mean rednecks love Crown in the first place, but rednecks go ballistic for Crown Peach. I mean it's real good, and it is really, really, really good in like iced tea. You get like an unsweetened iced tea and you throw some Crown Peach in there, it's just super good.
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
Or you get a sweet tea, throw some Crown Peach in there, it'll be extra sweet, but it's still good.
You don't need that. You don't need that. Because I like a
people
peach
really
tea.
like it. Super sweet.
There was a wine company that actually made a peach tea wine recently. It's going on sale next month. I'm going to pick some up again because it's actually pretty tasty, you know? But
Have you
man,
ever had tea beer before?
I have. What do you call the Abita one? I tried that. The Earl Grey?
No, that's a beer with tea in it.
Oh.
There's like a tea beer is like a separate thing.
I have not then.
I like there was only ever one. There's one place that makes them not even that far from here. I think in like Menor, Ohio. But they used to make like a blueberry tea beer that was just like super fucking good.
I'm gonna find out.
Yeah, Wild, Ohio. Yeah, literally, if you look at tea beer, it's like the fifth thing down. Yeah, no, why? I didn't even look that up. I just looked up tea beer, and it literally Wild, Ohio comes up like super early.
Yeah, I googled blueberry tea beer, and Ohio was the automatic fill-in like first spot.
Wild Ohio Brewing. They used to they still do the blueberry one, but it used to be blueberry lavender tea beer, and it was really good.
I do love a good blueberry lavender.
Yeah, where are they at? I know they're close by here, relatively. It's all like gluten free too, which is kind of sick, I suppose.
I think we gotta make a road trip, right? They are only 3 hours and 45 minutes away.
I think you can. Oh, they have like a.
They're in Columbus.
You can go to. Okay, Columbus. I knew it was like not like that far away from here because they used to keep it at the bar I worked at.
I gotta be honest, I'm still down to drive to Columbus. That's not too bad a drive. Get a hotel overnight, see the sights of Columbus, and then come back the next day.
Let's see, who would we have gotten it from? But yeah, they're distributors. Literally. Oh, they have a distributor that sells it in Western Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
You could probably, yeah. It looks like they have like people that just like you can just pick it up at stores around here even. Probably you have to go to like a specialty store. Maybe if you go to like 1,000 Beers.
I might head over there before.
I'm just guessing.
Tonight.
I'm just guessing. I'm just saying. Say it's in 25 miles of my zip code. Let's see.
Nope.
No, it looks like it's you just gotta go over the Ohio border.
And that's not that bad.
No. Yeah, it looks like it's all over the Ohio border, but there's a couple distributors in Conneaut.
Conneaut's not that bad.
It's actually
that's
they got
seconds
good stuff.
away from you.
Yeah, true. But they got tea beers, and they're really weird, and I don't know that they're like a thing other people do. Because they showed up so early on in the list, but like they're not a typical beer, but they're good. They're like lighter and like more refreshing, but not in like a light beer way, and just like that's just how they are.
Nice. I think, Jackson, I gotta be honest. I think this is a thing that we can do.
You can make tea beer happen.
Hashtag make tea beer happen.
Although honestly, I just like don't have any desire or drive to drink anything.
Oh, that's fine. You can just come with us.
That's fair.
Dan would love these. This should be what we do when we bring Dan up.
True.
Bring him back to Pennsylvania, give him a blueberry beer, and be like, "Here you go, Dan." I don't actually think Dan likes tea, but still, it'll be fine.
I feel like not liking tea though is kind of, what do you mean? You know, like sure you do.
I get it to a point, right? Like if you don't like plain tea, I think that is a very normal and acceptable opinion to have.
If you don't like a plain black tea, yeah, nothing wrong with that. But there's so many types of tea, and half of it's not even actually tea. It's just like an herbs. Like you don't like herb water? Because
Mm-hmm.
like chamomile tea isn't tea at all. Like there's no actual tea leaves in it. It's just chamomile flowers.
I love how much like an herbal tea is how much harder it is to burn the leaves of an herbal tea. Like you can just kind of go whole hog on that shit.
I hate to break it to you. You should not go whole hog on this. You actually should go cooler than regular tea.
Yeah, but I mean like for a mint tea, you can go as hot as you want, and as long as you don't
Yeah.
oversteep, you're fine. I don't think I've steeped tea above 185 degrees since I got a little like thing I could dial in my degrees on, and it has
Hmm.
wildly improved my tea experience. It honestly
Yeah, because
insane.
really, the only thing you actually want to have boiling water on is like some black teas, and that's it. Like
Mhm.
nothing else. You should actually like most every hot beverage shouldn't actually have boiling water, which is why it's so crazy to me that every single like instruction, even if you get like a package of coffee, it says put boiled water on top of the coffee, or
And
like with tea, it's like add boiling water
objectively
in.
not true.
And I'm like, you should not. If it's like a, especially if it's like a loose leaf like chamomile flower tea, you should put like 150-degree water in.
Mhm.
It shouldn't be that hot. It doesn't need to be hot. But it's also like it's not the end of the world if you do. It's just like it's not a problem. You're not gonna like have a super negative outcome if you do. But it's just strange to me that the manufacturers don't even care enough to be like, actually, here's what you should do.
Right? Like it made me wonder for a long time if you're supposed to bring that stuff up to a boil and then allow it to cool. Is that what that like had meant? But I don't think
I
that's the
mean,
case either because
I think that's just what they put on there. I also
yeah.
think if they're making tea bags, most of the time that tea isn't like super fresh and it's like super finely
I was gonna
ground.
say it's stale,
So
it's finely ground. It's not great tea, so you're not really gonna hurt
yeah,
it.
but it'll still taste good. Like it still tastes great,
Yeah.
but it's just not like I usually get tea from a local place like Happy Mug at a well we're out of Edinburgh, they're moving to Erie, but either way, I get tea from them.
Yeah.
And it's really nice because it's super cheap, like cheaper than a box of tea. And like it's like the most affordable option, and they also put actual temperature like suggestions, I guess, like temperature and serving suggestions on the tea when you buy it. So if you buy it, like I bought some like yellow tea from them, and they were like, "Yeah, add in water around like 195 degrees."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Yeah, it's really cool, and it shows that they're willing to go the extra mile to be like, hey, here's how you should do it. It's not imperative, and again, if you mess it up, it's fine. But it's nice that they care enough to give you the optimal temperature and the amount of time you should steep it and the amount you should use. I just feel like
Yeah.
that's like a common nicety.
Yeah, just nice to show that they care enough.
Because like you buy like the Twinings, and it's like, hey,
Yeah, boil
add
that
boiling
shit.
water.
You-
And then you get a different kind from them. It's like add boiling water. You're like, but aren't these teas like vastly different?
Yeah, it's like
Eh.
black tea, boiling water, green tea, boiling water, herbal tea, boiling water. And it's like, stop.
And again, it is fine. It's just it's nice to see like an option that's locally available, genuinely just cheaper, and has like more love put into it.
Mm-hmm.
This is my advertisement for Happy Mug. Not sponsored, but they're just pretty cool.
Yeah, if you're in the area, why not, right?
They ship too. I mean, one of the only places in the country you can get unroasted coffee from like a local supplier, not from like a warehouse.
Oh, that is neat.
Yeah.
Don't see a lot of people willing to do that. I don't know.
No, and it's one of those things where like any like coffee roaster can sell you unroasted coffee, but most of them wouldn't,
Mm-hmm.
which is fair, I think, because it does hurt their bottom line a little bit, and also they're not buying it for other people; they're buying it for them. But Happy Mug does a lot of like they buy green coffee and you can buy it from them and they'll ship it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the coffee roasting like subreddit, they're like they're the name most people suggest you buy from.
Insane.
But there's a couple others as well, depending where you live. So it's really cool that it's just like in the backyard.
Yeah, honestly. Very cool.
You got anything else? Any other anecdotes for the day?
Not a lot. I got back into playing Cyberpunk recently, and it's actually been really fun. They're on patch 1.6, and the game has a lot of good quality of life improvements, such as not making me sit through certain tutorials again and again and again every time I play. Which
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I think that's honestly pretty amazing that they finally let me bypass what are very basic tutorials. Like in patch 1,
When you make a new game, or
yeah, new game, and you can still bypass like every tutorial in the game. It's a good patch. Very
Yeah, I
good
played
patch.
like a few hours of it and then was like, maybe I'll play this again someday.
They fixed the cop issues as well, as far as I can see. Is well, if someone gets shot during combat, you still are you're still stuck fighting the police, but they don't spawn behind you anymore. They spawn away from you and run to you rather than just like on top of you. Big
See,
improvements.
the thing that scares me off is that like I never encountered any of those problems or any big glitches, and I was still like, this is way too slow, and I'm not actually doing anything, and it's been 5 hours.
No, it definitely the pace of the game has not wildly picked up at all. I'm not going to
That
pretend that.
sucks. Because I love JRPGs that take 4 hours to start, and Cyberpunk took way too long to start.
It definitely does take too long to start. I found the quickest start option is actually if you go corporate, which
I think that's what I did actually.
because I did Street Kid and you get like a whole ass mission, and I did Nomad and you get a whole ass mission, and I did corporate and you talk to 5 people, and it's like,
Yeah, I did
all
that
right.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
a lot
Maybe
of
I'll
good
play it again
improvements.
sometime.
I guess they also have some vehicle customization stuff. I'm sure I'm gonna get that tutorial set soon because that's something that I have not seen yet.
I just think they should have taken like a cue from an actually good game developer like Blizzard and just released Cyberpunk 2077 2 and deleted the old one and
Yeah,
pretended that they never did anything wrong.
honestly, I wish that they had done that too.
And then had it be wildly successful because people are, I don't know, they literally immediately forgot. Like, everybody's playing Overwatch 2. I thought y'all were mad at Blizzard. Are we not mad at Blizzard anymore? No
Like,
one cares? It's all good?
Fuck,
I
I've
guess.
been mad at Blizzard since the Hong Kong debacle, and that's why I stopped using any of their stuff.
I just never really played. I played a little Overwatch when it first came out,
Mm-hmm.
but I've just never really played anything by Blizzard. I was never like neither mad nor happy at them, and they just kept like They just kept fumbling the bag, as the kids say.
Eternally fumbling.
And yeah, they kept fumbling the bag. I thought everyone was mad at them, but did they make it better? Because everyone's playing Overwatch 2 like it's great. So let me know if we're allowed to play Overwatch 2. And by
Yeah.
allowed, I mean obviously everyone is allowed. It's just like, they cool now? Like, what happened? Why are we cool with Overwatch? What changed?
Yeah, please catch me up because I don't know how this happened, and it is upsetting to me that
I mean,
everything
it does seem
happened
like
this
they took
quickly.
some accountability for some things. I'm not sure. I haven't been informed in any way that they did. I just thought they were releasing a second game as a panic thing.
Mm-hmm.
So someone let me know. Like like literally, if you know, like hit me up. Be like, yo, this is why. And I'd be like, all right, cool.
I think the reason that they did it, I believe, was because they wanted to update their game engine, and that's something they couldn't just patch out because it was like heavy updates.
Yeah, I think there's like a
But-
PvE mode too.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that.
It's also free. So like, not free to play, free if you own the first one, which I did. So
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I might play it. I probably won't. I don't care enough.
some of my friends have been. I probably will too. I'll probably give it a shot. I do know that the new Fox character girl is like a support of some sort, and that seems like something that would be up my alley
Mm-hmm.
because I haven't played in a long time, but I really like the supports in Overwatch, and I like supporting in Overwatch. So like, I don't know. It's like a Fox spirit girl, and it seems like she might have something cool.
She's got a lot of abilities.
I don't know what they are, so it beats me. That or I would just play Diva because you can just blow yourself up.
That
And
is
it's really
always
funny.
fun. Is Diva still in the game? I don't think there's.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
okay, she is.
They took people out of the game?
I don't. You know what? That's a good question. I don't know if they took
They're
anyone out.
making Lucio white.
They are.
They're not making Lucio white. No one, don't take that seriously.
So
It's
true.
a Tumblr post from like 10 years ago. They're not making Lucio white. It's a joke.
They did
they are making
yassify
Lucio white.
Junkrat though, and I hate
What are
that.
you talking about? Wait, let me see this.
They gave him a shower.
What do you, wait, really? They changed?
Yeah, he doesn't look filthy anymore. He's not as much of a menace looking guy anymore. He's just kind of there.
Okay, I'm not seeing it then. I looked up Junkrat Overwatch 2 and he still looks the same to me. What did he look like? What did he look like in general? I have no idea what Junkrat is. He's just like a guy, right? He still looks like he's just like a grimy guy, right?
Yeah, he's still just kind of a grimy guy, but they made him more attractive. I don't know. It's a couple of like light character changes that like I don't care for. They low-key gave him a
Junkrat
fuckboy
smoking out of
haircut.
a bong.
That's more like it. Oh, they fixed his hairline. He had a whack-ass hairline before, and now he has
Shit, me
a
too.
normal hairline, or at least looks like he has a normal hairline. And a lot of people are like, give us balding Junkrat back.
Yeah, honestly, we need all the representation we can get out there.
Mm-hmm.
The more bald brothers that are out there in the world, the better. We got what? Stone Cold, Professor X.
I mean, Stone Cold counts for a lot.
Stone Cold does count for a lot.
Counts for at least 10.
You know, there's actually a lot of like bald WWE guys. Not a lot, but like a few.
No,
or
yeah,
at least
you're
like
right.
very close buzz.
I
Like,
feel
there's
like
a lot of like skin close WWE guys.
I wish.
I mean, Randy Orton's rocking the near razor to shaved head.
Randy Orton, I don't know him.
RKO out of nowhere.
Well, that's a tight buzz.
Yeah, we gotta have a wrestling episode sometime here. Halloween episode coming next week, everybody. By the way,
Yep.
We should probably wrap it up.
We're gonna wrap it up. Halloween. I forgot when Halloween was, so Halloween's being delayed a week. But Edge is coming back for her classic thing next week. We're gonna make that happen.
I mean, it'll be just like it'll be closer to Halloween than it would have been this week.
It would,
right?
but I feel like we usually like to put them out before, just in case you want to
That's
delay
true.
and listen to the creepypasta on Halloween.
That's fair. Yeah, we gotta have a WWE episode sometime here soon.
I would love that. I would 100%
I've recently
love that.
discovered that, first of all, I mean, obviously Rob, friend of the podcast, WWE obsessed.
100%.
I've also found out that another close friend of mine, Danny, is like secretly a WWE knowledgeable fella.
Okay.
And I was having a blast the other day when they were just like talking about the lore and showing me like matchup videos. Holy shit, dude, it's actually pretty cool. Like it's literally just live theater.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's genuinely no different than like a play.
Yeah, no,
And
it's
I would have like never known. I mean, because as a kid, I wasn't allowed to watch it because my mom was like, it's too demonic.
yeah, of course.
Because there was too many like devil guys, which I suppose is true, but also who give a shit.
Yeah.
But like, and like a lot of people who liked it were crusty as hell.
Yes.
But as an adult, if you're looking at it as like a piece of like stage art, like as a stage play,
Mm-hmm.
it's really cool. And a lot of the stuff is a lot of fun. Like the stories they make, the timelines, the way things run. They do it in a lot of really interesting stuff. And I'm not fully versed on the lore of this one. But Roman Reigns is like one of the big guys they really tried to make happen for a while.
Roman
and I think
Reigns?
they still are. He's still like the champion. And like they call him Roman Reigns. He's a tribal chief.
Oh, Roman Reigns tribal chief.
Yeah, Roman Reigns tribal chief. And I knew of him and like the memes, but like he's Samoan and he has like a group of like his family members that are also participating in WWE as like a like Samoan family, and they did a lot of like when they were first bringing him to like the championship, they did a lot of really really cool stuff that incorporated the culture in a way that was super respectful and knowledgeable and let the people who were of the culture, like Roman Reigns himself and like his cousins, his literal cousins, kind of like craft the storylines and portray the culture in a way that is super awesome and really cool to see. And you wouldn't necessarily expect, and I'm sure that it's not like perfectly done, but it's neat to see like cultures being represented in a way that's actually really positive and entertaining. And also a story. I mean, it is fictionalized, but yeah,
It's still
it's
cool.
pretty sick. And like, yeah, there's like his whole like family's involved. He also apparently is genuinely related to The Rock.
Interesting.
They are like, because I know last time we talked about it, I was like, yeah, and I think they're like cousins or whatever. And they're not. But apparently they are related. That's the final verdict. Which, I mean, that makes sense. Being Samoan, it's not exactly the largest population on the planet, so I suppose
It's not unreasonable to believe that two guys who are related ended up in the same career somehow.
Yeah. I don't think they're like super like besties. Be sick if they were.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, also the WWE is super. There's a lot of like dynasties and families that have like been in it for generations. It's kind of cool.
That is also, yeah, no, I find that to be incredibly interesting.
I don't plan on getting like into it, but I like when it's one of those where I don't want to get into it, but I really like when someone who is into it shows me it, because it's like a really fun thing to experience, something that someone else is really passionate about and get to see it in like their highlight version of it. And I think that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we're wrapping up.